All right, good morning. I'm Brian Linscott, CEO of Harte-Hanks. This is Lori Kearns, our CFO, and we'll take 15-20 minutes kind of walking you through our company and then open up for any questions that you might have. So thank you for joining this morning. We're going to go from the virtual world to something perhaps a little more tangible, at least something that I can wrap my mind around a little bit easier. But Harte-Hanks is the customer company. Just you know, it sounds a little bit corny to say that, but the reality is I've spent a lot of time over the last few years talking to both our customers and our employees, and that is absolutely the most common thread that is the belief in what we do and how critical we are for the success of our customers. And so we passionately believe that we help our customers succeed, and so the customer company is our tagline. Disclaimers, I'm not going to read through this stuff, but clearly we note on cautionary forward-looking statements. We are going to make some references to GAAP or non-GAAP related financial measures, including EBITDA. But to start, and just to kind of give you a little idea of what Harte-Hanks is, Harte-Hanks has actually been around for 99 years. Next year it'll be the 100-year anniversary of the company. One of the things that you think about in the early days, we were a publisher, right? Newspapers, and it evolved and expanded through many different years. I think the most recent, we had the penny savers that we sold in early 2000s roughly. And then we became more known as a direct mailer. And so we've kind of evolved through the years, and what we are today is really a $200 million company that is distinctly divided into three segments of our business. And they're roughly a third, and a third. It's a little bit different this last year because we got some pandemic-related benefit in our customer care business. But we have a marketing services business that's really out to generate interest, activity, eyeballs, and ROI for companies, both B2B and B2C. We have a customer care business that the lion's share of how we generate revenue is actually answering issues, calls, chat, discussions from customers. And then we have a fulfillment and logistics business that really takes and fulfills product and delivers that product primarily in a B2B capacity. So these three segments actually have a powerful kind of unparalleled offering if we do it the right way, where we leverage multiple segments to actually drive better outcomes for our customers. So I think one of the things that is interesting about Harte-Hanks, because we have been around for 99 years, we've got some unbelievably big brands that we've had loyal customers for decades upon decades, right? And so that allows us to really tap into some really great companies and also expand our service offerings, which is something that we're focused on doing. Over the last few years, we've had some challenges, and so we've had to kind of re-identify with who we are and find our focus and kind of cut some cost, get ourselves kind of in the shrink to grow mode. And so we've done a very good job over the last 3 years, and I'll get into some of that momentarily. So as of the end of 2021, we had 14 plus million in annual net income, and then we have a strong balance sheet that I'll let Lori kind of walk you through a little bit later. So if you kind of look at where we were as a company, and we had a lot of direct mail capacity. We had a lot of losses in physical retail direct mail declines. There was some acquisitions, some missteps, some management turnover over the 2014 to 2018 period of time. We had some transactions that didn't work well, and we had a lot of different locations and fixed costs to kind of produce direct mailers and actually distribute them. A lot of folks were decentralized, not only within the U.S. but around the world, and so At 2018, we were a $300 million company, but we lost nearly $20 million in EBITDA that year. So I came on as an advisor to the board in about 2018. We put together a reorganization, restructuring, turnaround plan. I came on as a full-time the COO in 2020 and became the CEO last year. And so Lori and I had worked very closely over the last few years to implement this transformation of the business. And so now we're a discrete 3-segment business. We are profitable today. We've reduced our footprint materially. What we implemented was an asset-light strategy. We had a lot of locations that we got out of. Obviously, COVID helped us accelerate some of those activities. As an example, our call center business, we have resources domestically as well as in the Philippines. And if you've ever seen a call center, there's a lot of people sitting in very close proximity in large volumes. And overnight, due to COVID, we went to a work from home model, right? So we had to get the technology for them to be able to still address customer issues remotely. And so our technology team worked tirelessly to get us to this work from home environment. And as a result, we were able to further simplify the footprint, and our fixed costs have gone down substantially over the last couple of years. So what we're doing today is investing in technology, because we know that this is where our success lies in the future. We've got a very good entrepreneurial kind of attitude within our existing employee base. We're collaborative, creative with our customers, and now we're pivoting from a survive mode to thrive and investing in tech growth and talent so that we can continue to find some acceleration in our growth. So end of the year 2021, we're just under $200 million, but the EBITDA is flipped to a positive $10 million. So very, very quick transformation in that sense. So just to reiterate, the marketing services aspect of our business is strategic planning, data analytics, creative design, leveraging technology to engage with businesses and consumers to drive business outcomes with positive ROIs for our customers. So that's a common theme in many of the things we do. And historically, we did it through delivery of direct mailers or email campaigns, and now it's more digital in the way that we generally interact with consumers and businesses. And then customer care is obviously the picking up the phone, responding to chat using both digital and voice to address customer experience. And then we use the data and reporting to better reflect and give a view for our customers what their customers actually care about. And so that ties back into the marketing aspect of our business. And then we have fulfillment and logistics. So we do a lot of B2B product and literature fulfillment. So big companies are mailing mailers to other segments, whether it's office buildings, hospitals, brokers. We put together a lot of materials both on a print-on-demand capacity and from a more wholesome kind of glossy view. So that's one aspect. We obviously have gone to kind of B2B e-commerce and sampling. And we've got 2 facilities, one outside of Boston and one in Kansas City, to cover the lion's share of the country. And so if you think of the logistics aspect of it, we don't own physical trucks or assets, but we have a large brokerage business that actually moves product for a lot of major retailers to and from either ports or distribution centers and or to stores. So as I mentioned before, we've got a lot of very strong brands in our portfolio, and many of them are tenured by well over a decade, some 20 to 30 years. And so when you look at this existing portfolio of who we do business with, what's nice to see is we're critical to their success. And some of these businesses are so large that we may not be plugged in at the CMO level of a company, but we're plugged in where there's massive amounts of dollars at the VP level or director level within a business that we do very specific value add marketing and sales enablement initiatives for these customers. And I will say, if there's questions along the way, don't hesitate to chime in, because I'll just keep going and roll through it. But I do want to try to make it interactive to the extent that that is something of interest to you. So we've got 2,500 plus associates across the world. So we have domestically, I don't know what, 400, if that, employees. And then we have a large number in Manila, outside of the Philippines. We've got some in Europe, some in Romania, some in Belgium, some in the UK. So we've got a nice footprint around the world to be able to accommodate some of these massive brands that have a global footprint, and they have very specific needs depending on the region of the world that they're in. So I won't spend much time on this slide because it's a little bit repetitive, but this gets a little more granular into some of the specifics of what we do for customers. Strategy on the front end, designing a campaign, thinking about how to target, how do you target, who do you target, why do you target them. Analytics and data is obviously fundamental to everything we do. And what we now are leveraging the fact that we've got great data from our customer care business. We have unbelievable data from our fulfillment logistics business, and now we're working on leveraging those tools and analytics to better understand how to remarket, retarget, and gain insights on our customers. And then we can do creative design of a campaign, as well as leverage the technologies, CRM technologies or the like, to actually distribute marketing campaigns. So that's the marketing services side. And then the operational side of the business, I think it's pretty self-explanatory with customer care, fulfillment, and logistics. So one of the things that we've really focused on over the last couple of years is collaborating across our segments, right? So Harte-Hanks, because it was built over 100 years, there was a lot of acquisitions, there was a lot of ideas and kind of growth initiatives that went on either through acquisition or just organic growth. And what evolved over time was a lot of silos around the country, the world. And so over the last 3 years, we've broken down the walls so that we actually leverage all of our segments. And this is a good example of a global spirits company where we're now pulling in multiple segments so that we can actually leverage the collective capabilities of Harte-Hanks to drive and grow revenue. So we do some point of purchase materials for this company, fulfill it out of our Kansas City location, but we then leveraged on our logistics part of the business. Every fulfillment starts and ends with logistics, right? You got to get product in and out to ultimate locations. We also leverage digital print. Then we went on to expand the relationship with this customer to say, we can actually answer phones, respond to your customer issues and needs. And so now we're moving into a more US and Canadian-based customer care service for this customer, and then expanding globally. And then now, we're not there yet, but we're working through developing an e-store for this vendor, which we then can further leverage our collective marketing services parts of the business, as well as fulfillment, logistics, and customer care. So when you look at our available market, there's a lot of dollars in the places that we play, right? A lot of spend, a lot of capabilities to grow our business. I think what we've done over the last few years is to get a little more laser focused on who we are, how we go to market, and now we're attacking the market. We're building our sales team, we're building up some marketing teams so that we can accelerate some of the growth. So this is an example of just some of the revenue year over year that we've experienced. Some of what I said before, we did receive some pandemic-related benefits. So as an example, our customer care business answered phones for a variety of states for unemployment and COVID-related matters. So last year we had a nice little uplift or pop in our customer care revenue, which we'll start phasing out. But what we're doing now is obviously complementing and augmenting those opportunities to set a baseline for revenue and actually start to get to some modest single-digit, hopefully low double-digit growth in the outer years. When you look at our revenue, our Kansas City facility, which it's a 400,000 foot FDA approved facility, which allows us to actually fulfill a whole bunch of unique products, right? Because there's a barrier to entry to have that capability. We invested in it. We've got 40% growth capacity just within those four walls, if you will. So we know that there's a lot of growth opportunity in fulfillment, in logistics. We have no barrier to growth in logistics. It's really about leveraging the relationships we have. So we have great growth in fulfillment, great growth opportunities in logistics. And then customer care is an example where if for every 15 seats or so, it's $1 million of revenue. And there's a lot of businesses that require 15 agents to respond to inquiries and issues. And so now that we don't have the confines of a physical location, we can actually hire and recruit more broadly across the country and the world and really leverage our technology and our training and our capabilities to manage and execute customer care. So another aspect of enormous amounts of growth. And then within the marketing services area, we again have unbelievably great talent. And when you think of investing in tech and investing in talent around data analytics, data science, we're positioned very well to accelerate further growth. So with that, I'll let Lori talk about the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. So as Brian alluded to, we've really made a turnaround on the net income. So you can see, 2019 with certainly a significant negative net income, turned around in 2020. 2020 net income certainly helped by some tax benefits with the NOL carrybacks that were allowed under the CARES Act. And then 2021, we've turned out positive $15 million of net income. We did have the benefit of the $10 million forgiveness of the PPP loan, but even without that, we still had a positive net income for the year, which is certainly a great turnaround story from where we were. On the adjusted EBITDA basis, so adjusted EBITDA, EBITDA less stock comp and restructuring, as we've done going through this restructuring, we've taken certainly some significant restructuring charges, as you see here, going from 11.8 to 9.4 to 6.4. We've completed the restructuring in 2021, so we don't have any of that moving forward into 2022 with us. We shut down the underperforming facilities that Brian talked about with direct mail, and we really have had significant improvement in all of the segments of our business. So 7 consecutive quarters of positive adjusted EBITDA, certainly a much better story, and we're moving forward with what we expect to be significant EBITDA growth moving forward. Looking at our balance sheet, so we had, this is the 12/31 balance sheet, 11.9 of cash on the balance sheet. Our accounts receivable, 49.2 million, very strong. As you saw the brands that we have, I mean, these are very strong, large companies, sought after brands. So really strong accounts receivable with not a lot of accounts payable offsetting that. We did close on a new $25 million credit facility in December of 2021. We only have $5 million borrowed against that. We do have, at 12/31, we had a $7.8 million income tax receivable that we have yet to receive. So we do expect to pay down that debt once we receive that, if not sooner, depending on timing. Pension liabilities, I just want to address, it was a large balance of just under $53 million at the end of 12/31. Certainly given the current environment of interest rates, we expect some positive decrease, some really decrease on that liability moving forward, as it's sometimes a function of that asset performance, somewhat offsetting that this year. But our cash funding on the pension, even though it's a large liability, the cash funding going forward, which isn't as volatile like with interest rates, it doesn't have a lot of impact on our cash funding, is only expected to be $3 million per year going forward. So not a lot of cash drain on that moving forward. So this is just a snapshot of a stock profile. April 8th is the date we took this from. So certainly we've seen, over the last couple of years, definitely an increase in our stock. We moved back to being listed on the NASDAQ global market on December 1st of 2021. So we've got, great EBITDAs, as Brian alluded to, 10.2 million last year, and we expect significant improvement in that moving forward. Do you want to finish up? He just gave us the 5-minute warning.
Real quick, I know we're running out of time, but this feels a little bit like a race through of what Harte-Hanks is, but clearly our focus now going forward is improving profitability. If you look at one of the reconciliation slides, we had about $6.4 million worth of restructuring charges that brought our EBITDA down to 10.2 last year. We won't have those this year. So just by virtue of the fact that we're through the restructuring and we're in a better place, it is completely, totally growth focused, and we, as Lori indicated, expect significant improvement in EBITDA going forward. So right now it's invest in talent, technology, and try to find additional ways to collectively serve our customers and drive and expand both through organic growth, because there's some areas we have such strong customers and they have a demand and a need for our services. We'll be able to fill up, as an example, the Kansas City location, because we have so much existing customers that want to use our services. So very optimistic about the opportunities in certain areas of the business. And then we're going to continue to explore inorganic opportunities, right? Tuck-in acquisitions and see if there's ways to complement either from a tech perspective or talent and capabilities that we don't currently have in-house. And so I think the story right now is continue to strengthen the balance sheet, find those opportunities, and look for additional ways to accelerate growth. Being a $200 million company, there's a lot of upside, and we've got a lot of great momentum, a very improved pipeline, and I'm excited about our future. So with that, I don't know if we got a couple minutes for questions. If anyone has a question, happy to answer. So I think the question was, do we have a view of our growth rate, and then do we have new logo or new customers that we've been onboarding? And the answer to the first, I think aspirationally I'd love to get to double-digit growth. I think this year is a year that we're going to kind of cycle through pandemic revenue. So I think it'll be flatter growth from a revenue perspective, but significant improvement in EBITDA. But from a pipeline perspective, we have a long list of new logo opportunities, and we've been actually bringing them on throughout the first quarter and the fourth quarter of last year as well. Other questions? Back to you, sure. So the question was, we just launched a healthcare practice this year, and why are we focusing on the healthcare vertical? So we actually have a lot of health systems where we do some marketing for today, as an example. We also have a very large national healthcare system where we do the customer care section of their business. So any questions that you have about enrollment or signing up, we already do this work. And then on the fulfillment side of the fence, we actually have both pharma customers, massive pharma customers, as well as some large health systems. So what we like about the healthcare and pharma vertical is that we can leverage all of our skill sets, and we already do it today. And so we really just got to get out and tell our story a little bit stronger. So that's the why, and I think the opportunity is enormous. Well, thank you. If there's No other questions, you can reach out to Lori or myself afterward, and I appreciate your time and look forward to the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.